Hello everyone, thanks for joining this training session for ISEC Designer. I'm Chiklu Das from the Design Tools team. So basically we are from the Design Tools and the main ambition and mission of Design Tool is to provide industry leading and innovative suite of design and configuration tools which will enable our commercials team and the SC partners to rapidly configure, design and quote best in class secure power products, data center solution and increase sales scope, right? So as part of our design tools, we have a total of 15 applications right now, which is available for configuration. And again, all these 15 applications are like categorized under three buckets, which is solution designer, product configurator, and product selector. And each of these buckets has their own requirement and own use case. So in this series, so far we have completed the three previous sessions where we have completed the introduction to the design portal, which is the web portal where we host all the 15 applications that we see here. We have also completed the introduction to localized configurator, and on the product configuration side, we have finished the three-phase UPS configurator. So as part of this today's session, we are going to go through the detailed demonstration of the ISEC Designer, which is our legacy application and which also caters to small and medium data center designing. So I have tried to outline the data center ISEC Designer training items here. So as you can see, we'll see how we will have to log into design portal in order to access the ISEC Designer. Then I will try to explain the ISEC Designer user layout, interface and layout. Once we are done with the introduction of the ISEC Designer layout, we will try to create a develop a design which will consist of rack, power, cooling, security and environmental management and service configurators, so that we are able to completely build a data center solution around with all these components. Once we are done with our design, we will see how the reports can be generated inside the ISEC Designer application. We'll also go through the different views that is available right now in ISEC Designer, which is 3D view, the rack view, the floor view, etc. And in the end, we will save the solution, create a backup of a solution, restore a backup, and make a copy of the solution via the design portal. So what is ISEC Designer? So as I said, ISEC Designer is one of our legacy application and one of the most famously used application from the design tools table. So this is the configurator that enables you to build, configure detailed virtual data center designs based on product rules and constraints. And ISEC Designer is the only solution tool that is available right now from design tools, wherein you will be able to complete a data center design, including RACS, eCoil, and Hyperport containment systems. You can also generate the reports from within the ISEC Designer and also from the design portal. So before I go to the slide on how to get started, is there any questions on the ISEC Designer? Okay, so how to get started with the ISEC Designer? So as I said, you will probably have to log into uh, the Schneider Electric Design Portal web page, where once you logged in, you will have to go to Solutions tab. Under the Solutions tab, you will see the download ISEC Designer. From here in, you can download the ISEC Designer version based on your system requirements. If your system is a 64-bit, you can go for the 64-bit Windows version, or if it is a 32-bit Windows version, you can go for this file. We also do support for the Mac system, wherein you will have a different Mac version when you are opening this design portal web page from the Mac system. So once the software is installed, you will get an icon in your desktop, which will be a shortcut to access to ISEC Designer. So this is about how you will have to download the ISEC Designer. Once the application is downloaded in your system, so you can, there is two ways of accessing it. One way of accessing it will be like to directly double clicking on the icon from your desktop. It will open the login page, would be quite similar to what we see in the design portal. And also the ISEC Designer has this capability to launch in offline mode, wherein for the first time you will have to give a pin which will help you to always open the application whenever you are offline, right? So this is the first way way, option one of accessing the ISEC designer. The other way would be to go to the create new solution page in create design portal and click on proceed to configure. Once you click on proceed to configure, a file will be downloaded, which would be going by the name of the ISEC design file. And if you double click on this file, it will open the application. So as you can see, opening the ISEC designer. So as you will double click on that icon on your desktop, you will get this screen, right? Where you will find this Schneider Electric employee login credentials. And if you're a partner, you will also have the provision to log in through via your partner credentials. And also on in the login page, if you see this alert that you are not using the latest version of ISEC designer, please update it. That means a latest designer version is now available, or latest version of the ISEC designer has just got released. So once you log into your application, you will get a pop-up which will help you to install the latest version. So as I said, there are different views in our ISEC designer layout. So before I jump into the main demonstration of our ISEC designer application, I'm trying to finish all this slide where I can give you a very detailed view of what exactly and how the layout looks like in ISEC designer. So you can see there is a floor view or the floor layout where you will be dragging and dropping all your configured equipments once they are configured. Then you will have all the different configurators that it is needed for you to build a complete physical infrastructure for a complete for a data center. You will also find a parking lot or an unplaced equipment place where all the configured items that you will just configure in all those configurators will be uh, placed over here, and you can drag and drop from here to the floor. We also have this recommendation section where it will give you the warnings, recommendation, alerts. So as you can see, there are three kinds of recommendation or three categories of recommendations depending on how the solution you're creating or configuration you're doing. You will be getting the warnings, information, and the alert messages. Also, the bomb reports would be generated under the report section here. So these are all the interfaces. So let me quickly build a solution in ISEC Designer, right? So as I said, there are two ways of launching the ISEC Designer. Once you can launch, double click on this ISEC Designer file directly from your desktop. This is one way of doing it. Another way would be to just log into our design portal application. You'll have to go to solutions, create new solution. And since ISEC Designer is a desktop application, you will have to first install the application in your system in order to access it. So let's say I'm creating a solution for Australia. So you will find this application here where you can click on configure. Once you click on configure, it will take you to this starting ISEC Designer page where if you click on proceed to configure, please bear with me on my internet bandwidth, so it's a bit slow. Once you click on proceed to configure, a file will get downloaded. If you click on this file, the application will run. So for this demo purpose, I have already have my ISEC Designer open. So basically, these are the two ways which I've explained in our slide also, and through this demo. So you can directly open the ISEC Designer application by directly double clicking on the icon from the desktop, or you can also go via the design portal website, right? So as for example, let us create a solution for Australia here. So this herein you can give in all the details, right? So you can give in all the details and it will be carried over to your design portal page also. And this is the solution number that we have. We can go and change the units that you would like to go with. Set the environment for which you are getting the data center or the design for. Click on OK. So in ISX Designer, the first thing that you will be landing up will be on the room shape. So since we can design a data center for a small to medium scale requirement, so you can go with the room shapes here. So basically we are providing two allocation to the users. Either they can go with the standard room size or they can go and draw their own custom room size, right? Based on their requirements. So for this demo purpose, I'll just go with the standard. So this is all about the room shape first of all. Then I'll click on next. So this will tell you, ask you about the physical properties of the room, like what kind of tile size that you would like to go with, 600 mm or 200 2 feet. So what should be the hot aisle what should be the aisle width for the hot and cold aisle, right? Whether you would like to go with a raised floor or with overhead, what should be the height of the ceiling and drop ceiling. So drop ceiling options we have disabled now. These options are not available, but all the above ones are available here still. So if you want to also keep the decide which aisle should be the first, whether it should be hot or cold, you can click on this. So this will be setting your physical properties of the room or for the uh, real estate that for which you are designing the data center for. The next thing would be for the power properties where you can set up the power redundancy, the runtime. So over here you can also set up the data traps and the cable traps to 0 if you don't need anything to be getting added by default. But if you always go with 1 or 2, so it is like we will by default add the data traps and cable traps for all the equipment that will be getting configured down the line, right? So this will be about the power properties. Now in the cooling properties, so if as a user you are not aware what is the room entering room temperature or the ambient temperature that for which you are creating the design, you can keep this for as default for now. But if you have the information from our Unical tool, then you can keep on changing this, and this will going forward will also impact your cooling calculations when you will be selecting the cooling units in your design, right? So once I'm satisfied with my room properties for power, cooling, and the actual room properties, I can finish it. And sorry, yeah. So this is the landing page where I will have where you can see the floor of the for this design. Since the design is empty, we don't see any equipment on so far yet. We can also see all the configurations on the left hand side, the parking lot. And since there has not been any design yet, there is no recommendation. So we are done with our room properties. So in order to go with the ideal way of designing a physical infrastructure for data center, we always go with the rack, right? To be precise. So let's go for some racks. So we can see under this rack configurator, we have this rack quantity where you can give any number of rack quantities that you would like to go with, and also the design load, which is like which would be the what should be the design or the IT load that would be going inside the rack, right? So because we understand that we only cater to the physical infrastructure part, but we can always give the load which would go in average load which would go inside each rack. So also you can see the family here. You can select which family that you would like to select. So right now we have only the SX family, but going forward, going ahead, we will be getting the easy racks for the international. For Australia, we don't have the easy rack, but we just recently have done a release for international region where we have enabled the easy racks. But for Australia and New Zealand, we have skipped it. We also have this power fit for the racks, so whether they would like to go with single redundancy or dual redundancy. If the, as you can see, as I have selected dual redundancy, the power foot, the RPDs getting connected to this rack has been doubled because now we are fitting to two power fits. So I'll just keep single power fit for example. In the SX rack, you can see what are the different types of SX rack that we are supporting right now. Apart from the 45U racks, we are supporting all the 42U and 48U racks right now in ISAC Designer. Yes, the white racks are not supported. These are only the main SX gray enclosures. So you can see all SX 42U, SX white 42U, and SX deep white 42U also is available, right? So same with the SX48U also. So let me take you take the example of, okay, we will go with the ideal SX42U rack. So, and you can see that we also have a recommendation engine going on in the background, where based on the load that we give, the RPD is getting connected. So if in case I've just changed the load to here, you can see the RPD just got changed here because the recommendation that we're providing here is taking care of the design load that will go inside each of the rack. Now, if you want to say you are not satisfied with this particular rack system or RPD system, or you already have something in your mind, or there is a requirement from the customer that this is the RPD that they would like to go with, you can go on, you can click on the advanced button and it will take you the RPD catalog page where you can get, you will find all the RPDs that will go or that is compatible with the particular rack and in your particular country region, right? So you can see all the RPDs which is listed here. We can also see the new Phoenix offer which got recently released also in our RPD catalog page. So each rack, we understand there are 8 40 U space available for and 42 use free space. So basically the vertical PDUs will satisfy your 0 U space and the horizontal PDUs you will take up the free use space. So as and when I keep on adding the vertical PDUs, you can see the counter gets reducing by 2 quantity. That means a total of 4 vertical RPDs can be going to any normal SX42U rack, right? But if you can see the free use space is not still not consumed because I have not added any horizontal PD. So any RPDs which has a U position of more than 0, that means that's basically a horizontal RPD. So I'll now also keep adding. So you can see as I keep adding, the counter is get reducing, but for time being, I'll just add this many RPDs to this particular system. And the total number of outlets that has counted now is 144. So I click on OK. So you can see now these many RPDs would be getting attached to each of the rack system. So basically, I've given this 5 quantity. Now this 5 will be multiplying to each of the RPDs. So each this many RPDs would go to inside each rack system. Basically, the ideal way is to just have 4 vertical RPDs and as many horizontal. So that is the reason I have kept this many RPDs. So once we are done with these RPD components, we will go to the security and environment for the different kind of sensors that we would like to install for that rack, which will detect the temperature sensor, the humidity, and also there are many other sensors that you connect to here to their particular rack system, like the netboard door sensors, door switch, the dry cable contacts, and everything, right? So I'm done with my rack configuration. I'll click OK. Once I click configure OK, you will see that it will all the 5 racks which are just configured, it has now gone to this parking lot. So basically, this is the flow that we have, that anything that you will configure in ISX design via any of these configurators, they will take you to the parking lot. So I'll have to drag all the equipments now from a parking lot to the floor view. So once I drag and drop all my rack equipments onto the floor view, you can also go to the 3D view to view all the racks, and you can see the cable troughs got added here because now in the initial room properties page we have said that there should be a cable troughs and data troughs that should be going along with each of the racks. So you can see the cable troughs and data troughs are already added. The rack in the rack editor, so this will provide you an allocation to uh, set any genome products or any of the servers or anything that you would like to place, right? So let's say I just want to place some server over here. So I'll just drag and drop. So in rack editor view, basically you will be able to uh, use the genome products that we have and drag and drop inside the rack, right? So say once you are done with your drag and drop and you are done with your configuration inside the particular rack, so you can now fill the remaining blank position with the autofill blanking panels, right? So this will help in your cooling optimization, everything. So you can do all these things. So you can also remove the rack if you don't want to, right? So you can also go and reconfigure that rack. If you go and reconfigure the rack, you can see you will come back here only for that particular rack system. Right now we are not seeing this 5 quantity, but you will be able to reconfigure only for that rack system. So let's say I'm just removing some of the RPDs from the rack system. So basically this will be getting updated, and if I click here, so if you see here, all this has got updated here. Now you can see what are the RPDs that are available right now. Previously this many RPDs were there for the other rack, but now since I have reconfigured this particular system, you can see the updated details here. So this is how the blanking panels can be filled for each of the empty one use space that will be available after you finish your placement of all your servers and switches inside the rack, right? Now we can also quickly go and check the BOM for this rack. So you can see, so this is the BOM that has been generated so far. We have four quantities of AR3100. This is the blanking panel toolkit. So based on the calculations that are happening in the background, this is the 16 quantity that would be needed, and each blanking panel is a quantity of 10. Then we have this RPD which we have added, the cable traps and the data traps, the sensors, and these are the some of the default services which we have added to the rack system. This EA I will explain later, but you can see the rack assembly service that we have is also being added now. So this is the complete configuration that we have for rack in our ISX designer. So now ideal condition is that we will now go to power, right? And in the power we can see that in ISX designer we host different kind of power offers or portfolios. You can see under power zone we host all our Symmetra products, right? And in the Galaxy we support all our Galaxy products, which is like right now ISX designer, in ISX designer we have stopped integrating the latest Galaxy offers because that is getting built in our three-phase UPS configurator. So you can see only the very old Galaxy products that we have right now. But Galaxy VM is still a latest one which is still relevant in ISX design. But apart from that, most of the Galaxy products that we see right now, they are either discontinued or will be discontinued by H1 of this year, right? So the last information that we have that we will be discontinuing or removing all the families from Galaxy configured in ISX designer by mid of this year. Only Galaxy VM will be available until unless it is not available in three-phase UPS configurator. So this is the Galaxy configurator that we have in ISX designer where you can configure the Galaxy products. Then we have this emergency power off, and also we support the Odin in ISX designer, which is a higher capacity UPS which goes up to megawatts. Like as you can see from the capacity here, is Symmetra PX scalable to 500 kilowatts, right? So it's a megawatt UPS that we support here, and also the FS selector. So basically, this particular configurator is only available to few of our config engineers across the region, because this is a kind of a expert view configurator. Like most of our config engineers or application engineers, they will be having a initial understanding what exactly is the requirement. So they need not have to go through the other configurators where they have to punch in all the values. They can directly come in here and they can directly pick up the UPS based on the requirements, right? So So say I as a application engineer, if I know which Galaxy VM I would need for my particular design, I can directly come over here and give the number of quantity and it will be added in our design. But this FS selector, as I said, is only available to only few selected users, and moreover, whoever you will be using this FS selector, the designer will not be complying with any guidance or will also not generate any recommendation for this. The only thing that we will say for the FS selector this configuration is that this needs to be manually approved by the config engineer team. So this is from the power. These are all the offers that are available right now in ANSI Designer under Power. So let me go to Power and try to go with the Symmetra UPSs, which are the most used UPSs when it comes to this 10 to 20 right kind of a solutions, right? So in the past 10 years of data, when we took out those data, we could see that in ISA Designer, the most number of solutions that are getting created are in this 10 to 20 kind of rack situation where they are getting powered with the Symmetra UPSs. So for that example, so I'll be powering this particular all the racks which I've just configured with my Symmetra UPS. So in order to power them, what I will have to do, I'll have to first click them on the right hand side. And then if you see here, I remember that the total load that we have right now is 40 kilowatt, right? But the 40 kilowatt that we have right now is not is will not be satisfied, or will not the 40 PX48 will not be able to power each of them. So what we can do, we can go for this PX496. But you can see that okay, the configuration which I did for racks are not properly managed, right? So that is the reason we are getting this error, like where all the PDO breaker is full. So what I can do, that I'll go back and try to do some modification. In fact, what I will do, just for the sake of this demo, I'll try to create some simple RPDs or rack systems, because anyway, because there are some constraints, as I said, which will stop us from creating some wrong solutions. So that is the reason I was not able to continue there. So now, as you can see that 15 kilowatt, that will be properly powered by this PX48, right? So PX48. Now, if I have to go with dual system, if I click on dual system, then you will see that the redundancy used by some equipment differs from power and redundancy, because we understand the redundancy that we have for all the racks or a single feed, right? So we can't, the system is not allowing, or the IC designer is not allowing me to go with the dual redundant system, right? But so in the same way, if I have all my racks, uh, so if I have all my racks as a dual, then I will not be able to power them with a single redundant system. So let me show you a very example which will have a mixture of both dual and single racks. So these are the three racks which have single power feed, and these are, say, I'm taking three more racks which has dual power feed, right? So basically, these are the validations that we have inbuilt in our IC designer, which will allow the users not to go for any wrong solution. So now, as you can see here, you can see the redundancy here. All these three are none, right? So if I go with this dual, and if I try to power with the single, then it says the power equipment includes B fit equipment, but you have not selected dual system redundancy. So if you like select dual, then that particular alert is satisfied. But now, if in case I just go for none, same way it says the redundancy used by equipment differs from the power. So basically, we are tackling all the scenarios where you will have to select all the correct systems for them to be powered by the UPS. Basically, this is a compatibility check that we are doing for the racks to be powered by the UPS. So let's, for example, we'll go with the system redundancy of single. Then we'll go to the battery. So I'll punch in my values, like what is my minimum required runtime. So I'll go with 15 minutes. So if I go with 50 minutes, you can see the maximum two number of drawers can give me this 50 minutes of runtime. And on the power distribution side also, you can see you cannot uncheck this power distribution, because for PX48 you can't uncheck this power distribution. It has to go along with the UPS. If you have any additional load in mind, you can also give some additional load. You can see this is the counter that is showing that 23 kilowatt is still can be added to this particular design. So I'll just keep 10,000, so you can see. And if you have any additional, if you want to add any additional breaker and whips, you can add it through this particular feature, where you can give the details of the whips and the breakers over here. And if in case you don't need any whips or there is no whip needed, so you can just go with 0, or amount of two is 0 here. So I'm the yep.
Iglu, there is a question in the chat from Sergey about how to determine the power factor for Symmetra PX.
Yeah, so in our ISC designer, we for the Symmetra we are maintaining a power factor of 1. But if you go to our Galaxy configurator, we do have that power factor where you can set up the power factor by this fact. So if I go, so we can select the power factor based on our site requirement, right? So we can set up the power factor here. But I believe for the Symmetra, we have to go with the Unity power factor only. We don't have that allocation of setting the power factor for the Symmetra unit. And also for the Odin, but we do have it for the Galaxy. So yeah, so
Okay.
that is pretty much okay. Maybe, but yeah, that's what the initial understanding is, that for Symmetra we can't set up the power factor, right? So now I'll try to power all the racks that I hope I have. So now once all the racks will, if I connect all the racks by this particular power zone or the Symmetra, you can see the whips and the cable layers are also getting added. So this will basically tell you what are the breakers and the size of the cable that needs to be added for this particular configuration. And this will also help our site engineers and the installation engineers to figure out what is the length of the cable that is needed for this overhead configuration, right? And you can also see that these three racks are not yet powered, because we understand these three racks are all dual rack. That is the reason they are not powered, right? So you can see the equipment is not powered. If you click on this, it will tell you which is that equipment. So we understand why it is not powered, because they have to be powered by by a dual UPS. So maybe let me quickly power them with the dual UPS. So I'll click on power zone. And you can see here right now, since the single are already powered, you are not seeing them anymore in the power to be for the equipment which is not connected here. You can only see the equipment which are not powered here. So you can only see the dual equipments which are not powered. So let me satisfy this alert by selecting dual, and if I click OK, a two redundant system UPS system would come in, because we are going with the dual system. So now all these dual racks are also powered, right? Okay, now we are done with our rack and power configuration, right? So let me go to reports and see what are the SKUs that are getting added with respect to the power now. So you can see now that the UPS has got added along with the UPS, the power module for the single UPS, and this is the whips and the cable breaker whips SKUs that we are adding here, right? So this is totally based on the calculation that is happening in the background, And the methodology or the algorithm that is used for the WIP calculation, that it will always go for the shortest route, and based on that only we'll provide the WIP skews. And we can also see the skews for this dual redundant UPS, where there is the WIPs calculation for this also, right? So that is all about the power configuration. Now say I'm done with my rack and power configuration. Let me try to cool my this particular systems, right? So we do have both the indoor direct expansion and indoor chill water with all the latest offers. And in the indoor direct expansion, we have all this many all indoor the wave 2 of the Indo RD new Indo RD SKUs. We also have the air cool and the water cool SKUs here. And for the Indo chill water also, for you can see that we do have the Indo along with the Indo cooling units, chill water units. We also have this easy cooling units starting. We have indicated this last year. So the easy cooling units are also available. Now let's try to configure some cooling units for this design, right? So let me go with this Indo RD Gen 2 30 kilowatt. Sorry. Let me give you the quantity. The input voltage is basically is only one input voltage. The cooling redundancy is n plus 1 because this is a redundancy that we have set in our room properties for the cooling, and that is the reason this has been overdriven or overridden here. Then we also have the condenser. For the condenser voltage, we can give single and dual feed, and we also have the accessories for it, right? So all the accessories you can see for this particular offer is checked by default, but maybe if I go with some other offer, these particular accessories might not be compatible. So if I click on the 600, you can see that all these accessories are not compatible. That is the reason they have been grayed out. So that particular the logic is already inbuilt there, that we will only enable the components or the options for the offer which it is compatible, right? For for this offer, it is only the number of cable detectors that is compatible, and along with the other ones. So I'll click OK. So three quantity on my Indo
One
RDs.
quick question on that
Yeah.
particular screen. What was the meaning of PSU, power supply unit? Yeah.
Yes. So power supply unit basically.
Sorry,
So
Michael
again,
here.
as
I actually asked the
yes,
question. Now, the thing is the power supply, right? So we're saying for the indoor unit, it can only have a single power supply and not dual.
right. So that is the reason for this. As we understand this Indo RD, this is the indoor unit, right? And for that reason, we have grayed out this portion. So you will not be able to select the dual.
Okay, so how does this work now? Let's now just say inside the data center, the client requested that we have to have an A and B feed, powering both the indoor and the outdoor unit. How can we actually get an A and B feed for the indoor unit?
Yeah.
Michael Rakesh here. So
Yes.
Inro RD300 comes with the dual feed. There are two different topics we are trying to discuss here. One is the input supply feed and ATS, and second is the power supply itself. So the dual feed and one power supply is part of the unit. You can have two power supplies in place of one, and then you can select a duplicate power supply. So the cooling machine has got another slot to add one more power supply. That is basically in case if the power supply itself fails, it can support with you with the second power supply.
Okay, so as a default, it's just a single because I see you can't change that,
Yes,
correct?
yes. Single power supply with two mains input.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now once my Indo cooling units are configured, now I'll try to place them onto the floor in between the racks and the power units, right? So now when I am placing my cooling units, I can keep on checking my cooling redundancy, and you can see here this is the different kind of messages that we will be getting. Your data center cooling does not have any cooling redundancy. Consider adding more cooling, right? So now let me add some more. So you can still see different kind of messages. The cooler marks with red are possible signal points if you consider rearranging. So basically, it is guiding you like how your cooling unit should be placed accordingly. I know I'm not doing it correctly, but for this, okay, okay, let me try to have maybe one more cooling unit. I know I'm doing not doing this correctly, but maybe there is a better way of doing it. But you can see that the message is now your data center has now at least the n+1 cooling units, right? That means all my data center, all the power equipment on the rack that is now getting properly cooled with this indoor cooling unit. And you can also see the capacity if you hover over these cooling units. You can see the capacity and the estimated return temperature and the cooler load that is getting. What is the airflow? All these matrices you can find it if you hover over the cooling unit. So now we have just configured this particular design with all my cooling units, and you can also go to the report and see what are the cooling units that have just got added. So you can now find all the cooling units that just got added to the BOM, and along with the cooling unit you can also see these condensing units, which are the default that needs to go with the main unit, also got added to the particular in the BOM, and also the accessories, right? Along with that, we also understand that there needs to be cable troughs and data troughs that needs to go along on top of the cooling. So the cable troughs and data troughs also get it added. So if I have to quickly show you the 3D view on top of the cooling unit of the complete design that we have completed so far. So this is how the design is looking right now. You can see the indoor cooling units which are placed between the racks, and also the power symmeter UPSs. You can see the data troughs on top of each of the rack cabinets, right? Each of the rack cooling and power cabinets. So basically these are all aligned and as expected. So now we are done with our rack power and cooling, right? So maybe if I have to go with my containment system, I'll select each of them and I can go with this configure equal. So this is one way of configuring the equal system, that you will configure, select all your equipment on the floor and right click on it to get this option. Otherwise you can also go with the containment system, directly go to equal containment, right? But I'll have to select this. Sorry. So now this is the containment system, right? So as I said, IC Designer does host the containment system, equal containment system, the RACS and the HACS hyperpod. You can drag and drop any more number of racks inside this containment, and we support all kind of racks right now, but the easy racks are not supported for inside the containment. So if you can see there, inside the containment we have all the 42U normal rack. So let me try to place some 48U deep rack wide rack. So let's see what happens to the containment on also to the BOM, right? So if I try to add some deep rack, you will see the width of the row will increase, and this some depth adapter will be getting added to here to all my 42U racks, right? So this will be This depth SKUs will also get added to your BOM, and this will also optimize the cooling performance of all the racks and the cooling units that we have inside this containment system. So this is about the EcoOil. We also do have the feature of hyperpod containment system, where if I have to go, I can click on direct hyperpod. And as we understand, the scope of hyperpod is that we can place any kind of rack inside a hyperpod, whether it be it a standard SX or custom rack. So I'll try to configure a hyperpod rack system. Please bear with me, I'm having this bandwidth issue, so it might take some time. But anyway, maybe I'll proceed with this. So we have this hyperpod containment system also, and we do have this rack area containment system. But rack area containment system is a very restrictive offer that we have in ISIC Designer. We understand that from the offer side, the RACS can support different kinds of, not different, at least the deep racks also. But right now, what we have in our ISIC Designer is that only it will support the SX42U racks, right? So let me give some 5 quantity of it, and you can also see you can add the in-row cooling units and in-row RD cooling also inside for that RACS. So whether I would like to go with it, what are the different kind enclosures that I would like to rear or front and rear, I will go with front and rear. And you can also see that the RACS is fully cooled, even if four of the cooling, right? So basically what is saying that I have placed some 5 cooling, so even only 4 would be good enough for me to cool down the RACS, right? So this is one of the information node that we are sending as and when we are doing the configuration. So if I click on OK, you can see this RACS system just got generated. Just try to increase the room size so that the design is properly set up. So I'll now drag and drop this RACS onto the floor. You can see this is the complete RACS, and unlike unlike EcoOil, where I can place some deep racks, if I have to do this, so I can extend the size of the there is a way of extending, but I'm not able to like how we just extended the EcoOil, right? We can do it for the, but as you can see here, I don't see the configure RACS here on top of the 48U, because this is not compatible with RACS. But if I have to do any rack 42U rack, I can see there is a configure rack. So this RACS is already restricted to 42U racks for now. Okay, so this is the design which I have for the RACS on the containment side. So now we are done with our rack, power and cooling and the RACS. Now basically we are let out with security, management and services. So these 3 configurator will totally dependent on what we have configured so far on the rack, power and cooling side, right? Because security and environmental, we will have to go for, we'll need to have the racks. Without the racks, we don't have this will not have the capability to configure this rack, security environmental, because in ISIC Designer we do support only the rack monitor system, not the wall monitor system. So for that we need to have the racks, so that's kind of mandatory. So as you can see here, we do support the NetBoards 250, and also in security and environmental we support the latest 750. So let me select some of the racks where I would like to host my NetBoards appliance. I'll also include cameras and also include the software for it. And I'll try to place my cameras on based on my requirement on whether I would like to have my cameras on the entry or exit of the data center or any of the critical points where I would like to keep them, right? So this is how the cameras can be placed on in IC Designer also, and you can also see that in this first rack, the netboard's appliance or the rack access has been placed on this particular rack, right? And the rack monitor is placed on the second rack. So this is how we have completed for security and environment. Now coming to management, in the management configurator, again, this will completely depend on the number of device nodes or the number of racks that are placed on the floor, because we understand that the for management configuration, we do have these two kind of offer, which is monitoring software and the planning and modeling software. Monitoring software will always look for the number of nodes, which would be like what are the different kind of RPDUs, what are the different kind of cooling and the UPS that are there on the floor. Based on that, we will get a total number of node, and on top of it, we will calculate the software licensing part. And on the planning and modeling side, it will directly consider the number of racks that needs to be for which the modeling is needed. So you can see here we do have all the latest and best offers from the software and digital service side that is currently available. We have both the cloud offers and the on-premise offers. So cloud offer, you can see the EcoStruxure IT Expert, and for the planning and modeling also, we do have both the cloud and on-premise, where both is EcoStruxure IT Advisor. So let me take the rack here for which the node calculation will start with. I'll click on OK. And there are many other features that you can go through it. Maybe we can have a detailed demo on it for a separate session, but for this session, I'm just trying to show you like how the management can be configured. And then once you go to the service, you can see there are three different kind of services that we provide in Asset Designer, and they are categorized under installation, project services, product services, software services. Under the installation project services, you can see the starter service is mandatory for each of the components which is available right now in the design. So we understand for the cooling and the power, the startup is quite mandatory, so it is always go by default. The assembly service is kind of optional that we provide, because most of our partners or the third party user vendors, they can go with their own assembly service queues or and not selecting the Schneider Electric service. Also, we have the site coordination, and what is the business scheduling time that you would like to go with 5x8 or 7x24. And we also do have this training service, which is like for the number of participants, and this is a kind of a one-day training that we provide, right, for our customers. On the product services side, we have the on-site service. Basically, the on-site service goes with the first year of standard warranty, but we do provide the on-site warranty beyond the first year. As you can see, on-site service contract beyond the first year, because and we do provide only for 3 years. The first year of the on-site warranty will already be included with the standard warranty of the product, and for the second year and third year, we do provide it through the Asset Designer. Then we have the preventive maintenance for both the cooling system and the power. We don't have any preventive maintenance for the rack, because we understand they are just an enclosures. And we do upsell our EcoStruxure Asset Advisor software or monitoring service with each of the product portfolios that we keep on adding in our design. So, and this will count the number of number of RPDUs, number of cooling units, number of UPSs that is there in the design, and based on that, a particular license will be getting added for that. So I'll click on OK, and then I'll straight go to the BOM, and we'll show you what are the different kind of SKUs that are getting generated for security and environmental management and service, right? So I understand the BOM has got quite a large, but still. So you can see here, as I said, we have just configured the netboard. So these are the SKUs based on the logic that we have running in the background, and based on the number of devices that we have on the floor, we are getting the respective numbers quantity for each of these SKUs. So you see this. We understand this 171 is getting replaced, or it's not getting replaced. It's already replaced by 175, which currently the team is working on. And we can see this is the USB latching repeater cable. This will be only needed for the first camera, because we understand that the new cameras that we have, they are all wireless cameras, right? So these cues are all about the net security and environmental. Then we see that these are the SKUs that we have for our management. Since we have went ahead with the cloud version, so you can see the EcoStruxure IT Advisor 25 racks. Then we also have this EcoStruxure IT Expert Access. Then we have, since we have gone ahead with our own Schneider Electric Gateway, we are also adding the gateway SKU here. And these are the many data cables that uh, that is needed as part of this particular configuration, right? So you can see, right, uh, there are some data cables that is running through across the design. So basically, if I have to do, okay, this window is open, so I can. So these are the data cables that would be needed for you to monitor all the devices, right, through the EcoStruxure IT Expert software. So this is also one of the cable. This is the ferrite cable quantity. So basically, these are the number of cables that is coming out based on that management configuration. We also now coming to the now we are done with our management SKUs. Now, as you can see, there are many services SKUs that has got added, because we do have rack, cooling, and power zone, right, along with our videos. So you can see these are the, as I said, we are upselling the EcoStruxure Asset Advisor. So this is the EAS license for the number of battery, PDU, and the accessories. So basically, we have we do have a Symmetra PX powering all the racks, right? So for all those number of nodes, we do provide this 21 license for them. Then we have this for the UPS, and then we have this for the indoor cooling units. I understand that there are some 10 indoor cooling units that we have on the floor right now. That is the reason we have this 10 quantity. So this is all about the EAS service. Then we can see that the startup service for the Indro RC, for the Indro RD. Then we see this assembly service for the rack, for the PDU, for the UPS, and so on. So this is, you can see the assembly project service, right? So you can see all the services for the products. And in the end, you can also see these are the software services that we have for our software configuration, right? And in the end, we have this netboards configuration, because we also have this netboards into our design. So I understand it's quite a huge one, but just to show what is the ISFG is capable of, so this is all about. And also there are many features which like in ISFG, like you can just directly copy the things, like if you have to copy this, you can directly copy it and then drag and drop it inside the, you can drag and drop it inside the containment or wherever you would like to. This is one of the features. Then on the context menu also, you can see all the options, which is like properties. It will tell you what are the kind of HSCS containment system that you have, or if you want to particularly go to that particular rack system and see what is the properties for it, you can go to cooling, general, what is the particular rack system, what is the part number for it, what is the load that is going inside it. Everything would be going there. On the physical infrastructure side, you can see there are many other things like 3D third-party equipment, where you will find all these different product portfolios. On the generic side, we understand that in a data center, designing is not always like it, that you'll always have to, you'll get a complete ideal real estate where you'll have to place your data centers on a row. So you can also always have some doors or blocks in between, right? So you can keep on adding those things in your design, so that you are trying to basically replicate a real world scenario. And this will also help our sales people to be spending more valuable time with your customer when they are dealing or presenting or design ideas to them, right? So this is how we can show to our customers, so that our sales superheroes, they can spend more quality human time rather than spending all these things doing manually, right? So these are some of the things that we provide automatically inside the ISIC designer itself. We also have the door flow crack. We understand that we don't have the calculations on anything, but anyway, for the representative purpose, we can have it, like for how to utilize the real estate of the particular location, we can have them on our floor. So these are the different things that you can also go for perforated tiles. It will give you an impression like this. So yeah, so that is pretty much from my side. Any questions, we can surely take up them now. Okay.
So Piklu, you scroll up, there are more questions, and then you can see which has not been answered. You can just start answering those.
Can you rotate the view of rack area? When we place racks, whatever be the dimension of the room, the racks are placed horizontally. Yeah, okay. For example, if the dimension is between, it will show that you keep only one rack.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Piklu, on this, but my answer to this one has been that if you are trying to create a 4 by 12 and you are putting it in horizontal fashion, the L's are put in horizontal fashion and it is not covering the way you want it and you want to rotate it. So my request is that you start with a 12 by 4 rather than 4 by 12. So that way you can always change the make it vertical and horizontal the way you want it. And that will be the easy way out.
That we generally do also same way, but sometime when you are already midway into doing things and you have already placed a lot of equipment, I just thinking that
Right.
if it is possible to rotate that.
Right.
So
Yeah, right now we don't have any such feature, but surely this is actually, we do have got this feedback multiple number of times. So this can be one of the value addition that we can have it for our future projects. I mean, but we don't have
uh,
any, yeah, right
can we
now.
have perpendicular L arrangement,
Yeah,
L-shaped
but
one? Is that's also another question during that time?
yeah.
Okay. There are more questions in chat.
Can we transfer us to other? When you
That I
say
have answered.
transfer, okay, is regarding the ecosystem thing?
So I think the question was, can I transfer a solution from one person to another? Which I said that it is available right now. You can change the ownership of the solution, or if somebody want to just look and copy your solution, they can do the same. As an internal user, all of you have access to other solution, so you can rightly search for it and then copy it to your name.
Yeah, you can also take up a backup of this particular solution design and you can share it with your colleagues and subordinates. If they have ISIC designer in the system, they can directly restore it. Like if I have to quickly give show a demo, like let's take a backup of this design. The only thing is that with this feature, you can only create a solution for the, you will have to create a solution only for the particular country. Like if it is a solution for Australia, you'll have this feature, but through design portal you can copy the design. So if you are saying sharing this design anywhere and with anyone in Australia, so you can directly create another, your colleague can create a new solution. I'm having a very bad time with my bandwidth, so pardon me. But we can, as Amit said, we can copy these solutions from a design portal side also, and we can share the design after taking the backup. Okay. Okay. That's it. So if I have to Restore the design again.
Piklu Ramesh here.
Yeah.
Piklu, the question is transferring the approved solution. So instead of transferring, is it possible to add a collaborator in the design portal? I think we have option over there, no? So if we add a person as a collaborator, so he also can able to edit the design, correct?
Once the solution is approved,
yeah.
sorry, once the solution is approved, you literally cannot do any changes. The solution lies with the approver. But what you can basically do is, if it is a one-off the case, that means somebody is exiting the company or some roles getting changed, and you want that ownership to be changed, there can be a manual request to us. So you have our email ID. Just reach out to us. Tell that can you replace this user with the Y user, and we can do that. In a normal case, if the solution is not approved and you are already going through a cycle and you still want one more person to be attached that in that way, or you want to replace the person with another person, all those requests can be performed with many ways that we discussed. You can copy a solution, you can change the ownership of a solution. I think Rajendra, you explained about how can we can add more collaborators so that we can all together work on the solution. All those possibilities are there. So you have to pick and choose whatever is most suitable for you.
Yeah.
And Sergey, if you have to answer your question like how to make several equal with different equal widths, so you can change the aisle width over here. So in this particular option, so say I would like to go with 4 feet for this particular aisle width, right? So it will take. So this has changed to 4 feet. Now say I'll just copy this whole system. Say now I want a aisle system which is different width. So what I can do now here, okay, this is otherwise I'll just do one thing. I'll quickly say I have some 10 racks. I'll try to place 5 racks. See, since I'm going for HSCS, let me. So I can go with 3 feet or any other 5 feet, right? In this way. So you can go with different kind of aisle widths by selecting that option. So did I answer your question? It's okay. And you can how many several equals? So you can for now the limit is that we do support till 100 rows in ASIC Designer. So with that keeping in mind, if you go with the ideal configuration, you should be able to configure some 24 equal systems right now in ASIC Designer. And each can be of different aisle width as you asked. So I'll move ahead. How to create and I think that's the same thing, right, Amit? So how to determine PF? Yeah. As I said, we understand that is Unity for Symmetra PX, but for Galaxy we can decide the power factor. Most not okay. Yes. Okay. What does PUC mean? That is answered. Second.
Yeah, this is a typical question from Gia. I try to answer that. Right now, we are allowing 5 hyperpod to be stacked one after another. But I think in a particular use case, they need 6 hyperpod to be stacked. We do not have a way right now. Is that so? Vipul?
Not much familiar with Hyperpod. Yeah, but we can surely look into that.
Yeah, we'll take that as a feedback.
But I do remember that we do have some limit because in the drawing also we don't provide like a scalable version, right? There's a very restricted in Hyperpod.
Okay.
When are you going to enable the Hyperpod into Saudi? Okay, so Amit,
We'll
we
take
can
it as
take
a
a call. Yeah, yeah. Is the plan to add REC support? Maybe not in the near future, Gia. Because they are the React LOB, as we understand, they are already working on a new version of this RECS. So with this existing RECS offer, maybe no support for 48 UREX. Does the on-site survey include the labor to remove the hardware, or is that? Okay, I don't have much information on this. Maybe someone from in this call maybe will have a better answer to this, because yeah. Okay, Rakesh has already answered. Also, yeah. Can we address that product and replace this with? Okay, what is it? Okay, yeah, Ajmer, this also is one of the feedback that we can take to the LOB. Okay, yeah, your feedback also will be taken care of when we discuss about that. The warranty for the first year is covered under the on-site, so assuming this one. I believe someone from this call again will answer that, because we don't have much information whether how this replacement of the hardware would happen. Yeah, he's already answered. Thermal containment for EasyRex. For EasyRex, now the next project that we have around for EasyRex is for Europe, and for that project we are discussing with the rack LOB whether how this EasyRex will be compatible with the containment system. So when we did this release for EasyRex for international, we didn't initially we got to know from the offer side that EasyRex are compatible. But when we were giving some of our demos, sprint demos to our stakeholders, then we got to understand that there are many complexities or many things that we need to take care of. So all those discussions are now will be taken care with the Rack LOB and the EasyRack LOB. So George, to answer your questions, the best answer would be that yes, maybe in the coming few months you will see the EasyRacks coming inside the equal containment. These days, no data center or server room has okay. Still in the previous, there one application. Okay. Yeah. So I think we have consumed all the questions, Amit.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
I believe that Rakesh has completely taken care of all the deadboards cabling questions, right, Rakesh?
Yes,
Do you
few
see-
questions we need to check with line of business, that in case if they have any plan to release Cat 6 cable and also a Cat 6 switch for the net boards or for any other ISAC solutions. Currently, what I see is a Cat5 port and Cat5 cables.
Right. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.